Hello everyone and welcome back to another Essential Album video. We're now on week 15 and this week we're taking a look at Channel Orange by Frank Ocean. First released July 10th, 2012. Some notable tracks on this album include Thinking About You, Pyramids, Sweet Life, and Lost. I first listened to this album, it wasn't right away, it was maybe a few years ago. I've also listened to, since listening to this, I've listened to Blonde as well. And I kind of think I prefer Orange overall over Blonde, even though they're both incredible albums. They're kind of different. This one is a little more, I don't want to say optimistic necessarily, but the other one is a little bit darker. I found Blonde to be a little bit darker than this one. This one has a lot of themes of like unrequited love and things like that. I have some notes here about the album. We'll get to those, and then we'll get to the track list and all that as well. So we just see what we have here. So this is the debut studio album from Frank Ocean. It's kind of like I file it under R&B, even though there's like electro funk and soul and pop elements. There's like a little bit of ambient sometimes, as well as like sampling. I think like the very first track on the album uses the PS1 or PSX boot up sounds. If you ever played a PlayStation 1 game, you put the disc in and it pops up with the Sony logo and all that. That intro, that little sound effect, whatever you want to call it, is actually in that track. So there's kind of like sampling all over the kind of board here. This is apparently, according to my research, the best reviewed album of 2012. He did a mixtape prior to this. I haven't actually listened to it, but it was Nostalgia Ultra, and that was just like kind of like a mixtape. And this is the studio album follow up to that. It's kind of like a long album. It's a little bit under an hour, but it's all really good. Really kind of emotional, like R&B music essentially, and it's just fantastic. The quote here is from Frank Ocean. It is a quote, gloriously painful love life is kind of what he was writing about. So they're all kind of narrative based on his own life, his own experiences, and things like that. I remember he came out, because I remember there was a trivia question at bar trivia. This is like shortly after this album came out. And it was something about, I don't even know what the question was about, but his sexuality was brought up in the question, and it was like this. It may have just been the answer, may have just been Frank Ocean. It was like this singer just came out, and this was an album he released or something like that. Because he actually came out on, I believe, a Tumblr post, which was just like an open, like a letter he had wrote, and posted it on his Tumblr, like in 2012 or something like that. So there's some quotes where people like if you could like look at the songs from different like perspectives, like you can look at like some songs from like his perspective or like other people's perspectives. I have some quotes here about that might actually bring that up. Let me actually bring up these quotes here. This is the quote from Frank Ocean. The other quotes in this thing are from his producer. I think Melee is the name, or Malay, Malay. Anyway, one of the quotes from Frank Ocean says, quote, I wrote to keep myself busy and sane. I wanted to create worlds that were rosier than mine. I tried to channel overwhelming emotions. And the album is like very, very emotional, but it's got like really great vibes. The next quote is from his producer. It says, quote, the new hybrid of what an MC used to be in the 80s or 90s, the true storyteller. And then this is another quote from Melee, or Malay, the producer. It says, quote, I don't think anyone during any given point during the creative process knew what was happening. When he's singing maybe from a female's perspective or whatever, it's a story. It's a world that he created. It's not necessarily his personal like something that he's experiencing. Maybe it is, and it's a metaphor, the way he did it. And then finally, another quote from Frank Ocean here is, quote, it succinctly, if I can pronounce it, it succinctly defines me as an artist from where I am right now, and that was the aim. It's about the stories. If I write 14 stories that I love, then the next day And then the next step is to get the environment of music around it to best envelop the story and all kinds of sonic goodness. So, just some quotes about the kind of writing process of the album. Let's see, I got those. Um, yeah, like the themes, like I said, like the whole album basically is around the theme of love, unrequited love in particular. This got many album. I don't know like how it did with Grammys, but it got in many album of the year lists from the likes of Billboard, Entertainment Weekly, LA Times, and so on. So, just like I said, highest rated review, or according to my research, best reviewed album of 2012. And we're now going to jump in to some of the review scores here. You just pull those up here. Just scroll down a little bit to get to that. Here we go. So let's see here. So Any Decent Music has it at an 8.9 out of 10. Metacritic has it at a 92 out of 100. AllMusic gave it a 5 out of 5. Daily Telegraph has it at a 5 out of 5. The Guardian, also 5 out of 5. The Independent, a 4 out of 5. MSN Music gave it an A minus, while NME gave it a 7 out of 10. Pitchfork has it at a 9.5 out of 10. Rolling Stone, 4 out of 5. Spin looks like a 9 out of 10. And USA Today has it at a 3.5 out of 4. So overall, very well reviewed. I don't think it won any Grammys, but let me just check on that. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, so that year, what album? What was the presenters? I'm just looking at the. Yeah, so it was nominated for the 2013 Grammys, but it lost to Babel by Mumford and Sons. I'm seeing what else was nominated here. Let me just type in Channel Origin. So let's see here. So it was nominated for that. It did win Best Urban Contemporary Album at the Grammys though. So that's kind of like an R&B category. So it won there. So it looks like it was nominated for 2 awards. So Best Urban Contemporary, which it won, as well as Album of the Year, which it lost out to Mumford and Sons. And also in that Album of the Year list, it was Babel by Mumford and Sons was nominated, as was Blunderbuss by Jack White, Channel Orange by Frank Ocean, El Camino by the Black Keys, and Some Nights by Fun. So overall, I think Babel by Mumford and Sons is a good album, but I think Channel Orange is just an overall, I think, better album. Um, I think I've only listened to that Mumford and Sons album maybe once or twice, and I revisit Channel Orange kind of frequently. I think I've listened to it. I listened to it last year, the year before. Like I said, I've only listened to it for a few years, but I definitely, or maybe it was 2019 or 2020 when I first listened to it. So it's actually been a little bit longer than that. But I've listened to it a handful of times. Like I said, I've only listened to that Mumford and Sons album maybe twice at most. But we're going to move into our track list now. So track list here. Let's see what we got here. The album comes in at about looks like an hour and 2 minutes. It's actually a little over an hour. I think there's a because I think the CD edition adds another track. The one that I streamed earlier, I think, is like a little under an hour, but the CD edition has one extra track here. So either like 55 minutes or hour and 2 minutes, depending on which version you're listening to. Track 1 is Start. That's the track we mentioned earlier that has the PlayStation 1 startup sound on it. Track 2 is Thinking About You. One of my favorite tracks on the album. I think it's between that and Pyramids. Pyramids is really good, but Thinking About You is also incredible. So track 2 is Thinking About You. Track 3 is Fertilizer. Track 4 is Sierra Leone. Track 5 is Sweet Life. Track 6 is Not Just Money. Track 7 is Super Rich Kids, which features Earl Sweatshirt. Track 8 is Pilot Jones. Track 9 is Crack Rock. Track 10 is Pyramids. A lot of the stuff on the album, they say they kind of focuses around that song. That song's like close to 10 minutes long, but Pyramids is incredible. Probably my second favorite track on the album. I think actually, it might be my favorite. That and Thinking About You. I kind of gravitate a little more to Thinking About You just because it is a little more digestible as a song. It's only 3 minutes as opposed to almost 10. But Pyramids is really good. So that was track 10. Track 11 is Lost. Track 12 is, let's see here, White features John Mayer. Track 13 is Mugs. Track 14 is Bad Religion. Track 15 is Pink Matter. That features Andre 3000. That was track 15. Track 16 is Forrest Gump. And track 17 is End. If you listen to the CD edition, you get End and then another track, which is Golden Girl with Tyler, the Creator. So overall, though, like I said, just a really solid R&B album. Definitely a one to definitely check out. It's a little on the long side, depending on how long you like your albums to be. But I think it's just incredible. I think I do prefer it to Blonde, but I've only listened to Blonde maybe like a couple times. So Blonde is really good, but I kind of give a slight edge to Channel Orange. I may revisit Blonde again, and we may do another video in this series, or maybe a feature series featuring that album. But for now, I'm going with Channel Orange. So that is actually going to do it for this episode. We'll be back again in a few days, or not a few days, back again next week with a whole new album. No idea what that is going to be just yet, but we'll be back with that. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.